Yo, what's going on, guys? Jared here. With just less than 2 months away, the North American World Championship qualifier will be taking place, and we know a lot of the cards that are coming and that are going to be meta impactful. And with that, I want to go over some of the archetypes and tech choices that are going to be at the event and definitely very prominent. Today's video is going to be based on Fiend Smith. Fiend Smith, I'm sure you've heard of, unless you're living under a rock, is a very, very broken, I would say, engine that is coming out of Infinite Forbidden. It is very techable, very strong, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you 2 different deck lists, multiple combos, go over all the cards, so that you, by the end of the video, will have an understanding of, 1, how the Fiend Smith's cards operate, what they do, and hopefully a little bit of how to stop them, and maybe get some ideas how to stop them. So if you enjoy videos like these, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it, and let me know down below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this. So as I said, Fiend Smiths are coming out of Infinite Forbidden, and we have to talk about them so that we get an understanding of what they do. There is not a lot of cards here, so I can get to breeze through them very quickly. So yeah, the main monster here is the Fiend Smith. Very easy, level 6 light fiend effect. You can discard this card, add a Fiend Smith spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You can target a Fiend Smith equipped card you control and 1 monster on the field, send them to the graveyard. If this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle 1 other light fiend monster from your graveyard into the deck or extra deck. Special summon this card. You can only use each effect of the Fiend Smith once per turn. We also have 1 spell card that we are currently playing, which is the Fiend Smith which is just add a light fiend monster from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card. You can banish this card from your graveyard, fusion summon 1 Fiend Smith fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. You can only use each effect as Fiend Smith once per turn. And then lastly, for the main deck, the main cards that we use is just a Fabled Worry. If you don't know what this card is, it's just a late fiend that if it's discarded, special summons himself. This is an older card that is not coming out of Infinite Forbidden, so this could be in your bulk or something like that. Other Fiend Smith cards that are coming out in the set that I want to go over now. Fiend Smith Sanctus is a spell card that does not see a lot of play, but you should still know what it does regardless. If you control no face-up monsters or all face-up monsters you control are light fiend monsters, special summon 1 light fiend token. Also, you cannot declare attacks for the rest of the turn except with fiend monsters. If a face-up Fiend Smith monster you control is destroyed by battle or by opponent's card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can set this card. You can only use each effect of Fiend Smith Sanctus once per turn. Then they also have a trap card, Fiend Smith in Paradisium. Target 1 level 7 or higher light fiend type monster you control, send all cards on the field to the graveyard except that monster. If your opponent special summons a monster while this card is in your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can banish this card, send 1 Fiend Smith monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. You can use each effect of Fiend Smith in Paradisium once per turn. So that are the 2 that you really don't play too much. I do not see a lot of people playing them, but I will note that these cards are actually good. It is just in comparison to the other Fiend Smith cards that you really do not have a place for what you are going for with this archetype usually. Lastly, we have to go over the 4 extra deck cards, and I'm going to start with the Link 1. I think that's the easier place to start with. Fiend Smith Requiem, 1 light fiend monster. You can only special summon Fiend Smith Requiem once per turn. During your main phase, quick effect, you can tribute this card, special summon 1 Fiend Smith monster from your hand or deck. You can target 1 non-link light fiend monster you control, equip this card from the field or graveyard to that monster as an equipped spell that gives it 600 attack. You can only use this effect of Fiend Smith Requiem once per turn. Then we have a Link 2, Fiend Smith Snake-Eye, 2 monsters including a light fiend monster. That is probably the best way that this card could have been worded because is extremely generic. During your main phase, you can fusion summon 1 Fiend monster from your extra deck by shuffling its materials from your graveyard into the deck. You can target 1 non-link light fiend monster you control, equip this card from your field or graveyard to that monster as an equipped spell with this effect. Your opponent cannot target the equipped monster with card effects, and then you can only use each effect of him once per turn. Now for the 2 fusion monsters, the one we're going to be using the most here is Fiend Smith Lacrimosa. 2 light fiend monsters, again extremely generic for this deck. Monsters your opponent controls do 600 attack. You can only use these with the following effects of itself once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, you can target a light fiend in your graveyard or banishment, either add it to your hand or special summon it. You have a lot of choices with it. If this card is sent from the graveyard, you can shuffle 1 other light fiend monster from your graveyard into the deck or extra deck to inflict 1200 damage to your opponent. So this is going to be a way that people are going to be able to win in time for the NAWCQ. Keep that in mind. It is in engine and extremely accessible for this deck. Lastly, we have the Fiend Smith Boss Monster that is, again, not played a lot, but you should still know what it does because it is still a very good card in my opinion. So this one requires the Fiend Smith and 2 light fiend monsters. Quick effect. You can negate the effects of face-up cards on the field to the total number of Link ratings of Link monsters equipped to this card until the end of the turn. So it is something like a DDD what's it called? A DDD Siegfried, where it's like target, or a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, I believe his name was a target, and then negate cards. But this actually is just able to just negate things on the field without targeting, which is even better. It's just up to the number of equips that are equipped to it. So you get to do it non-targeting, which is very, very strong. And you can do more than one, which is very, very strong. If this card is sent from the field or the graveyard, you can shuffle one other white fiend monster from your graveyard into the deck or extra deck, then target a card in the field, send it to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of the Fiend Smith iterate once per turn. So it is a negate, plus it trades with itself when it is sent to the graveyard, plus you can make it non-targetable with Sequita. These are definitely things that are not bad, but again, in comparison to what this deck can be doing in tandem with other engines, it is just simply not that great. With that being said, there are other cards that go with this archetype very, very well. One being DDD High King Wave Caesar, because we have level 6 Fiend monsters, we're able to make this as a more than once per turn negate of a special summon monster, or a card that special summons a monster, I should say, like a Solemn Warning of such. Or you're able to make a Beatrice with 2 level 6s and then continue comboing from there, so it is very abusable with rank 6 monsters. Also, with other rank 2 monsters, you are able to splash in with this deck very, very well. There is a new card at Infinite Forbidden as well that is going to see a lot of play, which is the Top Hat Hair and Silhouette Magician, which is just 2 effect monsters, very generic, and I'm going to read over what this does too. If this card battles an opponent's monster, the other can be destroyed by battle, by that battle. So as an illusion monster, the normal illusion tag. You can always use the following effects once per turn. If this card is Link Summon, you can set a continuous trap directly from your deck with an effect that special summons itself. Also, this card cannot be used Link Material for the rest of this turn. If a card is a special summon from your spell or trap zone to the monster zone, except during the damage step, you can target a spell or trap your opponent controls, destroy it. So that allows you to get the Angel statue of Azure Rune. Again, we already have this card. This card just didn't have a home for any deck really. Now, this is probably the most generic searchable continuous trap that you want to search with this card, which pretty much, while it's a trap monster that summons itself while it's on the field, it is a card that negates a special summon, essentially, an inherent summon, something like not the voiceless voice ritual, but it is a ritual monster, but the dragon, the Ceravis, being able to negate a special summon, which is pretty strong. So that is it for that. And then lastly, there was one more card that I need to go over, and that is the Moon of the Closed Sky. So this is a card that we do not have yet, that is not in Battles of Legend. We just got that confirmed today. So the only other place that this card can be is a import in Infinite Forbidden itself. If this card is not an import in Infinite Forbidden, this deck is much less scary, but it is still scary. It is still very, very good. It just is harder to transfer other archetypes into Fiendsmiith. That is the only downside to it. But do not say that this deck is not still strong if this card does not exist. It is still very, very good and threatening, and you should understand how the deck works. So just keep that in mind. If this card is an import, then obviously it's good that this information is here. If it's not an import, you should still know how these cards operate and work anyway. So this is just pretty much 2 effect monsters into a white fiend monster to be able to link into the Requiem. That is all this is. The effect does not matter. Now you know what all of the Fiendsmiith cards do, what the little mini engines do, and how they operate. Now let's go over I would say the most pure version of Fiendsmiith, which is pretty much the Cybers version, I would say is the most pure version of the deck. But it is important to note that Fiendsmiith can be splashed into a multitude of decks. There are so many, I did not possibly have enough deck lists to show you of all the things that Fiendsmiith can do. You are able to set up so many different things, and yeah, it is very splashable. So here is just one example. So this would be a pure version of a Fiendsmiith pile, in my opinion. We have 3 copies of the Fiendsmiith, 3 copies of Tactus, 3 copies of Draconet, 2 special summon White Dustin, which is a light fiend, which can then go into your Fiendsmiith line. 3 copies of Formid Skipper. You are able to make this into a light fiend to then go into a full combo. Cyber Skagit. Again, this one only works if we have the Moon of the Closed Sky. Parallel Exceed to search off Formid Skipper. 1 copy of Guitari adding this, or you also search off Formid Skipper. Then, because of how this deck operates, it is all 1-card combos. You are just able to squeeze in a bunch of non-engine into this deck. So things like hand traps, like Effect Veiler, Ash, Imperm, Nib, Drolls. I think Droll is going to be more popular going into the NAWCQ because of Fiendsmiith, because of how they search. So I think this card is going to see more and more play as we lead up to that event. And of course, Cross-Out Designator and Call By, and the 1 continuous trap trap that we are able to play. For the extra deck, you also only need to play one of all the Fiendsmiith cards. The reason for that is because they all shuffle each other back for their engine requirements of what they are doing. So every Fiendsmiith card is shuffling back each other, including the extra deck cards. So by the time your combo ends, the only thing that's in your graveyard is literally just the Fiendsmiith, which can also shuffle back another card on the following turn, so you can do your combo again regardless. So you really do not run out of engine in this deck. It is kind of crazy. We have one copy of the Requiem, one DDD, one Sakita, one Lacrimosa, one Ire. Again, you don't need this card, just have it in here. One copy of Max, because you have to reveal it off Format Skipper, one Anima, one Devotee, one Disciple, one Masquerena, one Little Knight, one Close Guy, one Unicorn, one Access Code Talker, and one Top Hat Hair. Again, this is just a very simple deck list as something to give an example of. The other thing I wanted to give an example of is Fiend Smith Snake-Eye. As we know, Snake-Eye is definitely the most popular deck right now and definitely the most powerful, and it is not going to change unless we get a ban list, in my opinion. So here is just a very general Fiend Smith Snake-Eye deck list that I think could be very, very strong. Of course, we have 3 Snake-Eye Ash, 3 Diabellstar, 3 Wanted, 3 Bonfire, 3 the Fiendsmiith, 2 Fiendsmiith Tractus, 2 Poplar, and 1 OSS. Believe it or not, from Poplar and back, these are all starters in some kind of way or shape or form, which is absolutely insane to me that even the Fiendsmiith cards 99% of the time are starters. It is super crazy. Then we have the 1 Worry, the 1 Azertune, the 1 Oak, the 1 Snake-Eye Diabellstar, 2 Flamberg's Dragons, 1 Divine Temple, 1 Ghost Dog and Snow Rabbit, 1 Droll Lockbird, 1 Nibiru, 3 copies of Ash, 3 Imperm, 3 Veiler, 1 Mourner, and 3 Crossout Designator, all just for, all these 1-ofs for Crossout, because again, I do feel like Droll is going to see more play. I think Ogre is very solid. I think Nib is going to be a little bit scary playing into Snake-Eye, and you just need a million hand traps to be able to do something about it. It's just a lot going on. So again, like I said in the previous deck, that we only need to play one of all this of the Fiendsmiith cards. So we have one of the level 6 fusion, one of the Link 1, one of the Link 2, one Close Guy, one Beatrice, 1 Hita, 1 Promethean Princess, 1 Anima, 1 Braze Phoenix, 1 Zelantis, 1 IP, 1 SP Little Knight, 1 Appaloosa, 1 Celine, and 1 Top Hat Hair. Again, you could all, these lists are not definitely guaranteed. Everything is a little bit movable, so there's definitely room for improvement for everything here, but this is just a very generalized list so that you can get an idea of what the Fiendsmiith cards are going to look like in a deck list after the next set comes out. So now that we are here, we are able to go into the combos that I have lined up, and I have a lot of different combos for you. So we are going to start off with some of the general ones, and then we can go into the Snake-Eye combos and the pure combos. Okay guys, just giving you a reference, I have 7 combos here lined up for you. So again, I'm going to go through this very, very quickly. If you guys just going to see how these cards operate. So we're going to use the Fiendsmiith to get the spell. Use the spell, add Worry. Worry, discard itself to special summon itself. And then you are able to link off the Worry to go into the Requiem. You're able to use the Requiem, tribute itself off to summon out the Fiendsmiith. Then you are able to use the Fiendsmiith in the graveyard, shuffle back the Requiem, special summon itself. Here you can make a DDD if you want to, depending on what your deck wants to do. But most of the time we are not doing that. We are going for the Link 2. Then we are using the Link 2, shuffling back the Fiendsmiith and the Worry to summon out the level 6 fusion. Use the level 6 fusion's effect to bring back the Fiendsmiith. Excuse me. Then you are able to overlay the Fiendsmiith and the Lacrimosa to go into the DDD. So this would play you around Nib without normal summon off of 1 card. You are also able to summon Beatrice so that you can go into different engines depending on what you are playing. Also, you're able to go into an Appaloosa here for 4, which is extremely, extremely strong to play around full hand traps completely, which is broken. But for this combo, we just have a little Beatrice, and then showing you that you can go Beatrice, dump Snake-Eye Ash, then you can link off the Beatrice and the Sequita to go into Promethean Princess, and then you're able to go Promethean Princess, bring back Ash, Ash effect to search Poplar, and then you have a full Snake-Eye combo there. So that is just one example of what the Fiendsmiith can do by himself. But what about the spell? Because as I said, the Fiendsmiith is the 1-card combo, but the spell is just a little bit of a worse of a combo. Obviously, it's still very, very strong, but you need the spell plus any normal summon. So any hand trap works 99% of the time, and it will still be full combo. So you're able to use the spell, search Worry, Worry effect, special summon itself, link off the Worry, go into Requiem, use the Requiem to summon out the Fiendsmiith, then you're able to normal summon Ash Blossom and Joy Spring to go into the Sequita, shuffle back, and then you are in the exact same position that you were before, and you can just do anything you want from here, which is very, very nice. Again, you're going to see a lot of common trends of where you end up and what you can do. So this is pretty much the common trend of where you want to be with the link. Once you get to like the Fiendsmiith plus anything to go into Sequenta, that is usually where you want to be at. Okay, next up we're going to go into the pure combos. So we have 4-Mud Skipper to start off with. So this is going to be normal summon 4-Mud Skipper effect to reveal Max, then link off 4-Mud Skipper for Max, then link off the Max for Requiem, special summon Parallel Exceed, you should summon it into the zone it points to, it doesn't matter though. Tribute off Requiem to get the Fiendsmiith, then you're able to go into the Link Disciple and Link Devotee combo, so you get a little bit of a hand fix here with the Link Disciple, a little bit of a misclick. So you fix your hand, draw 1, fix a hand, get 2 tokens, link off the Fiendsmiith and a token, because again, this card is extremely generic, so you're able to use tokens for this. And then you're able to fuse, because it does not matter where it goes to summon out the Lacrimosa effect to be able to. So what we're doing here is we're adding back the Fiendsmiith from the graveyard to our hand, then using the Fiendsmiith in our hand, discarding it to search the spell. And then we can use the spell to search Worry, then discard the Worry, then use Worry's effect to special summon itself, and now you are able to link off Disciple and the Link 2 to go into the Top Hat Hair effect to set the trap, and then go into another Link 2 and into IP Masquerena. Then you're able to use the Fiendsmiith in the graveyard to shuffle back the Link 2 and overlay into the DDD. And then, of course, in the graveyard, we only have a Worry in here. And the reason I say this is so broken is because next turn, if this is dealt with or if this is used, you are able to use the Fiendsmiith to shuffle back either the Worry or the Lacrimosa to, again, be able to just continue and keep your resources going even farther, which is just absolutely crazy. So yeah, it's a pretty good end board, very strong, a lot of interruptions here. And that is just off 1 4-Mud Skipper. Next, we have Cyber's Gadget. Again, this is dependent on the Closed World Goddess to be still, be in the TCG, but you should still know about this combo regardless. So again, this is just pretty much sets up Link Disciple, Link Devotee. We are able to go into Anima, then go into Goddess, and then go into Requiem. So again, we go into the same position where we have Fiendsmiith plus the another monster, and we have 2 guys in the graveyard to fuse with. That is the main thing. Requiem plus another White Fiend. Usually it's the one that we use to make Requiem. So that is like the common trend. From here, we're able to use the Link 2, shuffle 2 back, summon out the level 6 fusion, add back the Fiendsmiith, use Fiendsmiith again in the hand to search the spell, then use the spell, search Worry, discard the Worry effect, special summon itself back out, Link 2 to go into the Top Hat Hair effect, set the trap, use Fiendsmiith in graveyard, put back the Link 2, and then overlay for the DDD. So again, pretty good end board, multiple interruptions. I like this a lot. For 1 card, very, very free, minimal effort. Yeah, very, very strong. Next up, Draconet, the last one. So this is going to be Draconet for White Dustin effect, get Requiem effect, tribute off, go into the Fiendsmiith, and would you look at that? We have White Fiend, Fiendsmiith plus any monster. That is, it seems like it's like common. Like once you get used to it, your brain will just know and understand what your opponent's trying to do. It's the same thing, just with different seasoning, right? It's always the same thing. You just have to know what they're trying to go for and what you can play through. So again, same thing. Fusion, add back Fiendsmiith, discard, get the spell, get Worry, and then it's going to be the same end board here, like I said. Search Worry, discard, and special summon itself out, make Top Hat Hair, and then bring back the Fiendsmiith, because you're actually saving that effect for later, not immediately. A lot of times you use the Fiendsmiith effect earlier, but in this combo specifically, you actually can hold it till the very end, which is very, very nice. And then, so that was 5 different replays. Now, the last 2 I want to show you are Snake-Eye replays. One is going to be Snake-Eye's Poplar, then one's going to be Snake-Eye Ash, so that you know how to do combos with these. So, we're going to do normal summon Poplar, get OSS, link off Poplar, summon Anima. We're going to put spell and trap Poplar, OSS send Poplar, add Ash, use Ash, get Poplar, special summon Poplar. This could also be a different Snake-Eye, what is it, Birch I think it is, but I would rather just not play Birch. Go into Close Sky for Requiem effect, get into the Fiendsmiith. This is where the other effects of the Fiendsmiith comes up. They do not come up a lot, but in Snake Eyes, they're so broken because of how Snake Eyes work. So now we can use the Requiem's effect in Graveyard to equip it to the Fiendsmiith. Then we can use Snake Eye Ash effect to send it so that we are able to summon out Oak. Then we can use Oak's effect to bring back Poplar. And then from here, we actually use the Poplar and the Fiendsmiith to go into the Link 2, and we hold the Oak for later, because again, we can get value off of it later because there's 2 Link monsters and they both can equip from the graveyard. So now we can go into the Fusion, get back the Fiendsmiith, use the Fiendsmiith, discard it to get the spell card. Same thing, spell card for Worry, special summon Worry, and then we'll discard it, special summon it. And then from here, we're able to Link for 4 for Appaloosa. Then we are able to shuffle back to deal 1200 damage, and then bring back the Fiendsmiith by shuffling back the Fusion. Then we can use the Link monster to equip it to the Fiendsmiith. Then we are able to use Oak to send away the Link 2 in itself to summon out Flamebergs. And then all from here, we are completely fine, because now we have Appo before we even use Flameberg's Dragon. So yeah, make IP, then use Flamebergs, get back 2 bodies. Link 2, go into the Princess effect, get back Flamebergs. You've seen this probably a million times. Use Flamebergs, get back IP, and then go into Blaze Phoenix, and then that's pretty much your end board. Very, very strong. Again, this is all off of very simply just Poplar, so it makes Poplar a really, really strong starter still and a big, big threat. So just something to keep in mind. Lastly, we have to have a Snake Eye Ash combo. I saved it for last. Just very, very standard, nothing crazy. Ash effect, get Poplar. Poplar effect, summon itself out. Poplar effect to search the Divine Temple. Divine Temple, put out Snake Eye Diabellstar. Ash effect, send both, summon out Oak. Oak effect, bring back the Ash. Then you can use Oak to send away itself and Snake Eye Diabellstar, summon out Flamebergs. Link off the Ash and the Poplar for Closed World. Use Poplar, put out Snake Eye Diabellstar. Now, from here, you're actually very insulated from a lot of hand traps because this Flameberg's Dragon does not move until you have an Appaloosa now, which is kind of crazy because you're able to go through the entire Fiendsmiith line and hold this Flameberg. It's just going to sit here while you're doing all of this, which is bonkers. So it's like just free insulation just sitting there because Flameberg is an unfair card. So here we are just going to go through the normal Fiendsmiith line again. Again, add back the Fiendsmiith to get the spell, get Worry, link all 3 into Appo. And then from here, we are able to go back to bring back the Fiendsmiith again. And now we can finally link off the Flamebergs because we're safe under an Appo into the IP. And then again, we're in the same spot that we were in the last combo with the Poplar. And then we can link 3 into the Promethean Princess, bring back Flamebergs, bring back IP, then go back into the Rage Phoenix. You can go into Zelantis if you want to. I'm just leaving the Raging Phoenix up because I don't think Super Power is that popular. So that is it for the last replay. Again, this deck is very, very strong. So it is definitely something to look out for. Please keep this in mind. That is not only going to be used in these 2 decks. There is a multitude of decks this can be used in, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody has an idea to spread awareness and information. So hopefully this helped you out as much as it helped me out doing research for this video. Again, I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know down below if you do and what other decks you want to see for the NAWCQ, because there is a lot that we can go over. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.